the people that we have working with us, like I think of it like the football team. If you got a quarterback, that's great. You got to have one. You don't need to. Now I need somebody who can catch the ball. You know what I mean? So different people have different skills.
And I think for me and my team, it's trying to find that is naturally in them and not shove the wrong size or shaped bag in the hole and let them be who they are and really suss that out in the hiring process.
Every employee is different. They're unique. This is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And it's also our job to, while holding this space for who we are, to recognize who they are and what they're good at and letting them shine. That is one of the great, isn't it? One of the greatest joys of being in business is when people step into something that they're really good at and they're talented with and they just flourish. Use that F word earlier. Flourishing.
Yes.
And just letting them do it. Just letting them shine. I love that.
Don
Robin
Niemyer, thank you for joining me today on our podcast. This is designed to help your business grow.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to it.
So for the kids at home that think that you're a new friend, we're not new friends. We've known each other for 31 years.
31 years, yeah.
So this is our podcast, though, where we talk to business owners and people we've worked with to find out more about them and what they're up to. So for you, in a sentence or two, tell me who you are and what you do.
Well, my name's Don Niemyer, and I'm the owner of Story Coffee Company. My wife and I started it. It's been a little over 10 years now. After living in Portland, Oregon, we had a few coffee shops there. We moved here after traveling the nation in an RV for about, we lived in the RV for 4 years. And what I like to say is we became accidental minimalists. We got good at the management of a small amount of resources. And we were dreaming, how can we parlay that into what we want to do next? That ended up being to build what we think is the world's first tiny house coffee shop. It's about 160 square feet. We like to say we're chasing simplicity. And we've been doing that for a little over 10 years. Right in the middle of our build, though, something super interesting happened, which was like a lot of small business owners, I knew everything. Thank you for understanding that that's a laugh line. But, I was all full of I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And we had some good things. We had some good ideas going. But I had a friend that showed up into my life, an old friend, and she said, hey, what are you going to do for your design? And I said, you know what? We have just traveled the nation getting every good idea there is, and I'm going to put them all in that tiny house. And my friend, which spoiler is you, said, can I just help you with that? And I was like, I don't need no help. And you were like, why don't you just actually let me help you? And so you did, and you created the design, as you well know, of the original Story Coffee, the award-winning design of the original Story Coffee tiny house cafe. And that was over 10 years ago. And so that's, in a nutshell, that's who we are and what we're up to. Yeah.
So what first made you realize you wanted to run a coffee house? Like, not everybody wakes up in the morning to know that they want to do something that serves people on a regular basis, something they all want or need.
Yeah, I'll answer that by going to the end, and then I'll come back and unpack it a little bit. It was probably a couple of years ago when we had started our second location, and there's only two, and we hope there only will ever be two, but we had started our second location, which of course you designed as well. And we were working on mission statement and that kind of thing, And we had an idea of who we are and what our values were, but we hadn't done the work to really, I guess, put it on paper clearly, et cetera. And so it was probably a couple of years ago that in sharing that with my staff, as I do, we talk about it all the time. We're not a create your mission and then put it in a file and forget about it organization. We try to keep that before us all the time. Who are we? Who are we? Who are we? And I literally realized that my mission statement, our mission statement, says not one word about coffee. And it occurred to me, and it was meaningful to me because we do coffee. We like to say, we're working really hard to do a great job with coffee. We work really hard at it. We train constantly. We're always trying to learn and get better and grow, et cetera, et cetera. But at our core, we're not a coffee organization. And this is true for lots of organizations, of course. Our mission statement talks about influence and the people that we're going to be a part of their lives. For us, it's the concentric circles of each other, our customers, and then our community. And so to continue backing up, when I called it my third life crisis. I was 30 and moved here to Colorado Springs to kind of like rethink some things, whatever. And I just got a job at Starbucks because I needed a job. And I wanted a job where I didn't have, great amount of responsibility. I could go check in, do my work, and go home. And I loved it. And what I loved about it was, yes, I loved the coffee, of course. Who doesn't? But I loved that I was in the lives of people. I had an excuse to be in the lives of people daily. And people in coffee, one of the unique things about coffee is that if you get a regular customer, you might literally see them every day. And because you're seeing them daily or, 3, 4, 5 times a week, you get a peek into their world. They come in one day and it's like, how's it going? Oh, things are so good. I've got a new job interview that I'm going to today. And I'm so excited about it. And the next day, hey, how'd your job interview go? It didn't go well. I didn't get the job. So you're riding this, you're riding through the ups and downs and the celebrations and the sadnesses of life. And, I think that's probably why most of us do anything, isn't it? It's not about the coffee. It's not, surely, probably, I'll speak for you. It's probably about the interior design. It's about the relationships and the excuse that you get to have to be involved in people's lives. And somewhere in there, in that Starbucks journey, that drove deeper and deeper into my soul. And I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this because it gives me a great way to be involved in the lives of people in a way that's meaningful. And yes, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going to chase excellence, but we're also going to realize that at the end of the day, it's not about that amazing cup of coffee. It's about the person that you're serving it to in that relationship. So,
you said something a while ago, which was you probably don't just do this for interior design either. And that's true, because I don't. I don't wake up in the morning imagining how to make spaces tell stories. I wake up in the morning thinking about my clients' businesses and what we could do to help them grow. And I know that we've now created it as a tagline that maybe if you say it enough, a tagline starts to sound cliche. But for us, it's really what gets us out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, you mentioned the tagline that you can say to it. It's been 11 years now since we put "Live Your Best Story" on our wall, and you wrote that. And I never get tired of it. And by the way, neither do our customers. They always come in, and have oh, look, you get that new customer that's on vacation or whatever.
Yeah.
Look, honey, it's "Live Your Best Story." And then I'll go take a picture next to it. It's just, I like to call it mildly inspirational.
Yes.
We're not here to preach, but if we can kind of nudge you a
Yeah.
little bit,
That's totally true.
we'll do a nudge.
Okay, so what are you naturally great at? And what are some skills and instincts that make you good at the work you do?
Yeah, again, I assume a lot of small business owners will be watching this podcast, and they'll all be like, "Preach, brother." I walk into a room, and I see everything that needs to be fixed. It's like every blessing in your life, it's also a curse, because I have to really work at things like appreciating and thanking, because I feel those things in my heart. But it's hard for me to be like, I just want to thank you for, this beautiful table. If there was a coffee stain on it, I would see that coffee stain. You know what I mean? Yes. So, it's that attention to detail. It's that, passion for excellence, all those buzzwords, that anybody that's got a small business has to have some of that.
Yeah.
And so I think I've got a good amount of that. And then I work on the deficiencies, I'm never going to stop working on stuff. Always got room for learning and growing, but I also try to staff around me. I talk about, the people that we have working with us, like I think of it like the football team. If you got a quarterback, that's great. You got to have one. You don't need two. Now I need somebody who can catch the ball. You know what I mean? So different people have different skills, and we like to try to keep that in mind when we're hiring and bringing people in. So I don't know. I'm probably not answering your question anymore, but the attention to detail, the desire for excellence. And I'll say one more thing about that this is just something that I'm kind of entertaining myself with these days. It's the way I'm saying it. I don't know if this will resonate with anybody, but it's embarrassment. Like, I don't want to look stupid. I want this thing to look good, you know? Yes. And so if you come in on my beautiful white table, by the way, this white table is perfect. But if there was a coffee stain on it, I'd be embarrassed about that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll coach my team. I don't know if it resonates with them, but hey, aren't you embarrassed about that? You should be embarrassed about that. You know, like, so embarrassment's probably my superhero power.
Okay. Now that's the first time I've heard that.
It's an angle.
I have to remember that. That's awesome. Yeah. So I identify with the quarterback. You know, we only need one of those. I think it's hard as a business owner. It's important to build the right team because there's more than one thing. You're not just trying to fill a hole with the right size peg. It's a human, and they've got so many parts to them that you're trying to build a team that is working as a machine together. And then at the same time, like one of our goals in our business is joyfulness. Like we want to have joy in our work and enjoy the work of our hands. And the days that I know my team spends more hours doing the job than they do at home on the weekends. And so I want them to have joy in what they're doing. And I think for me and my team, it's trying to find that is naturally in them and not shove the wrong size or shaped bag in the hole, and let them be who they are and really suss that out in the hiring process.
Yeah, it's a both and, right? Mm-hmm. Like on the one hand, this is who we are.
Right.
One of my mentors that said, because I used to say, I want this and I want that. And he said, you got to stop talking like that. It's the Story Coffee way. This is the way Story Coffee is. This is the way Story Coffee does it. Talk about the Story Coffee. So we talk about it all the time. This is the Story Coffee way. I'm holding this up here. Remember, it's up here. It can't slip down. I'm going to constantly be holding that. And it's, the employee's job to rise to that.
Yeah.
Also, every employee is different. They're unique. This is what you were talking about. Yeah. And it's also our job to, while holding this space for who we are, to recognize who they are and what they're good at and what motivates them. Some people are motivated by money. Yeah. Some people couldn't care less about money, or they'd like to have a little bit of it. But, they're motivated by appreciation or opportunity or growth, whatever it is, and to be paying attention to that individual and try to speak their language. So it's both of those things. That's one of the things that I find hardest because I want to say, here it is, get to it. Yeah. But I have to remind myself, who is this person?
Right.
What motivates them, et cetera.
Yeah.
You're talking about your joy in your work. I would guess that that's one of the things that your clients can feel. Have you found a way to make your clients feel? Because I want that. I want that for my business. I want people to walk in like, we're having fun, but I want them to feel it.
Yeah. That's a good question. Did you have fun? Did you think we were having a good time when we worked together?
Oh, I've told that story many times. Yes. Of course I did. And then also I was in such a learning, because I knew nothing about design, but I thought I did. You remember?
Thank you for your honesty.
Oh my gosh. I just had all these ideas, And so I think it was for me, working with you was, I was much better at it the second time, by the way, I think, when we did the second location. But it was this constant roller coaster of like, I know what I want. And you go, no, you don't want that. And that would kind of be bringing me down. I remember when you walked into our, we did the trim on the windows, one of my favorite little bits. And you walked in and you said, y'all said you knew how to do trim. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you understand that's a little bit offensive, right? And you said, when people say they know how to do something, I thought that they would just be telling me the truth or something like that, You were really nice about it. But you were also clear that, like, this isn't done well. And my business partner at the time, of course, I was over there like, we just put this up and we painted it and everything. And he was like, oh, you're right. We got to tear this down. And because you were like, see how this one casts a shadow over here, but this one doesn't cast the same shadow? It's because it's not the proper depth. And I was like, Shazam, you're not wrong about that. And my business partner was like, get the crowbar out. He starts ripping it off. We literally redid it, So, and then we ride back up. So, it was a roller coaster of like, oh, really? Oh, but she's right. And then ride it back up. Look what we did,
Yeah.
Me and my business partner at the time, we both talked about how we felt like you were kind of like living in our back pocket going, remember. But at the end of the day, obviously, like I said, our award-winning design was a result of your tenacity. And yes, it was fun, but it wasn't always
fun.
consistently clear that it was fun in the moment. How's that?
Yes, because of those moments. Well, I appreciate you telling that story. It is challenging sometimes because what we're trying to keep in our mind is the objectives that we've talked about at the beginning of the project. And we see a pathway to those objectives that sometimes are different than the business owner, especially if they're, imagining a budget that's at one place that we're like, I think it's going to have to be different to get the objective you want. I think that's the rub sometimes in what we do is that we're asking you to trust us, but I feel really confident about this, and I hope it's always what's received by our clients, is that we're listening to you and we're just reflecting to you what we heard. Now, whether or not you knew what that meant when you said it is different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have another question for you. When clients refer you to someone, what do they say, and what are the things you always seem to create for people beyond just, coffee?
Yeah.
If somebody's going to say, you need to go to Story, what do you want them to be saying? Because fill in the blank.
Sure. I think there's kind of levels of it. When I used to do consulting, and I had kind of developed this little snotty thing I would tell my clients. It's like, you need to understand the top 3 reasons why people come. The third one is because of your coffee. Okay? Yeah, I know you want to think like, oh, we make coffee so good, because the number 1 is because you're there, which is very uninspiring.
Yeah.
Because like if you're on the south side of town and there's a great coffee shop 30 minutes on the north side of town, you're not going to go to that coffee shop every day because it's not in your neighborhood, right? Yeah. So the fact that you're in a particular place where people are, on their normal driving, or maybe you're in their neighborhood or whatever, that's number 1, is just, they're going to try you out because you're there. Number 2 is because of that human connection. Because they like somebody there. But they'll put up with even because lots of coffee shops do this, they'll put up with a not great coffee because they like the person serving it to them.
That's true.
Or I literally just had a conversation this morning with 2 of my regulars who like to pop around to other shops in town, which I totally, support. And they're like, yeah, except for coffee shop X, which of course I'm not going to name. They're like, yeah, we don't go there anymore. And I was like, oh, why not? They're usually like really nice. They're like, yep, they hired some people that we just don't like.
Interesting.
And for better or worse, maybe those people have their version of the story that they would tell.
Yeah.
But they were like, yeah, we've went several times since those people are there, and we don't like those people. Those people don't pay attention to us, whatever it was, right? And the point is, they love their coffee. It's closer to their house.
Wow.
But because of that personal experience, they don't go there anymore, right?
Yeah.
So back to your question. I think what people tell me frequently, that so-and-so said you should come here and try this drink or whatever. If we are fortunate enough to continue with them as a regular, then it's because of that other reason. It's because first of all, you gotta hire nice people.
Sure.
We're gonna start with that.
Yeah.
But then even though you have nice people, you have to work hard at, I always, when I'm training people, I say, your kindness is infectious, etc. And we have to make sure that our customers feel that. Because if you're holding all that over here, and then our customers, if you're so worried about cleaning the coffee spot up, but they never feel that, then we didn't do them any good.
Yeah.
So yes, we're going to make good coffee, we're going to keep the things clean, and we have to make sure that they feel that. So one of the things, just a little example, we have a little thing called, ring them up last. Because you go into some shops and they're like, okay, I'll get a cup of coffee. Okay, boop, what else? It's like the McDonald's, boop, quarter pounder, what else? Coke, boop, it's pushing buttons, right? We don't do any of that first. And I say, we're going to have a human connection first. Get the human connection happening. Make sure that's clear what they're getting. When all of that's done and they're doing what you're doing right now, they're shaking their head up and down, yes, like that. Yep, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Then we'll pull out the mechanism to get their money. And we're going to get that money, obviously, right? It wouldn't be a business person if I wouldn't get that money. But we're going to have that human connection first. So we work, there's just 1,000 little ways that we try to work at facilitating and valuing that human connection. I really do believe that that's why people come back over and over and over to Story Coffee. Yes, we're there. They're not going to come from Denver down to Story Coffee every day because, we got to be there. And I think it's that human connection. Yeah.
Feeling appreciated or
and seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another thing that I love talking about. Can I just talk about this?
Yeah.
Is I call it the 4 levels of hospitality. And everybody watching this, every human knows that there's this one little tool that everybody likes to use. Got any fun plans for the day? Got any fun plans for the weekend? What you going to be up to today? And I always tell people, like, that's fine, do it. You know, if you can't think of nothing better to say, go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
But when you say that, you got to remember there's 3 levels deeper that you're not getting to. You're at the lowest level. The only thing you could do worse than that'd be less than low, is like literally like just look at them and not say anything. Like you're just like, I'll get a coffee. You know, start bumping the coffee. So we had to say something. Oh, how's the weather? If you can say the thing that you just said to absolutely anybody, anywhere, like how's the weather? It's level 1.
It's level 1.
You haven't done anything.
Yeah.
You know, you've just done the bare minimum. Level 2, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but level 2 is like, you know, something specific about this person.
Right.
You know, like, oh, I love what you are, you know, I love your earrings. Now they match your necklace or whatever, you know, just anything. And even that's, you know, not great hospitality, but at least you notice something specific about them.
Yeah, you're calling
And it
out
goes on
something.
from there. So we work at trying to find a way to see that person. They're not just one more cappuccino to make. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that. So who are you attracting? Who do you want coming into your spaces?
Oh, that's a great question. And I do have a sense of that. You know, on one hand, it's, you know, anybody that walks in the door with a few dollars is my,
I like you.
Sell them a cup of, all right, I like you. To drill into it, the ideal client, I think, you know, it's that old thing of like begets like, and we like nice people. You know, I mean, who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
And so we want to be nice and therefore attract nice people.
Yeah.
And I loved your comments earlier, so I kind of questioned you back on a little bit about joy. We're not a Debbie Downer shop. You know, we want to be an up shop.
Yeah.
You know, where you come in like, how's it going? It's going pretty good. How are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then move into those 4 levels of hospitality to try to see the person and go, obviously, with if they're having a hard time, we want to be responsive to that. We like being around nice people. We like being around positive people, and we like being around people who like great coffee. You know, we can all gather around all those positive things. I think there are some businesses and shops who the sameness that we gather around is anger.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, we're just all angry about this. Okay, great. You do you, not me. I don't want to spend my life being mad. You know, I want to spend my life around people who are, you know, at least chasing happiness. You know, we all have down times.
Sure.
But let's all at least try to move towards,
Yeah.
like you said, joy. I love that.
Well, and it's part of the brand that we created together about living the best part of your
Right.
story. Because all of us are experiencing downturns
Sure.
or things we didn't expect or disappointments in life or sometimes tragedy. But to focus on living the best version of ourselves, being the best contributor to our community, caring about the people that you buy your product from, I know was one of the stories that we were crafting your brand around. It's part of why the fingerprint became our rebrand for you guys.
Yeah,
to
love that.
recognize the uniqueness. And I love that about you, because that was what was so important to you, was that each of those people coming in the door was important because they were unique and created that way.
Yeah, and I love that part of our story too, because we sat in this very room and talked about our values and things we're chasing. We had no idea or clarity around, you know, specific expressions. That's probably what I should say. Expressions of it. We knew who we are, who we wanted to be. And then we came back to this room after you had some time to kind of play with it, and you showed us that mock-up design of the thumbprint and the wood rings and everything. I mean, we were both like immediately like, yes, that is an expression. That's a tangible visual expression of all of the values that we talked about. It was perfect. And we still love it. It's been years. You know, it'll be 4 years in August.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Time is passing so fast.
I know. 4 years, and I never get tired of it.
I think I could probably suss this out myself, but from what you've just talked about, What is one thing that the person listening to this podcast could take away from it and apply to their life this week?
Ooh. Chasing kindness is pretty important, and being around the kind of people. I think being the kind of person you want to be around.
I like that.
And trying to, you guys are great about talking about, ideal clients and, who do we want to be in this with, Who are my shoulder to shoulder people, when we're on the front lines of the battle, who do we want to look to our left and look to our right and say, this is the people that are with us,
Yeah.
But I mean, I think most people are nice, don't you?
Yeah,
Don't you think,
too.
inside they want to be nice.
They want to be nice.
Some of us, I'll say, I don't want to say them, I don't want to other these fake people I'm talking about, but some of us have to work, all of us have to work on different angles of it, I think. But some of us have to work harder at getting in touch with that nice person and making that person be the one that is the front person of the band more often,
Yes.
Because there's Mr. Rhythm guitar back there that's like, it can always be better. Okay, we gotta have that guy. We gotta have that. We gotta have the drummer back there. Be like, we gotta clean that mess up. You gotta have that guy. But the person front and center with the microphone, that the front man of the band, the one you hear the loudest voice of, I think that needs to be the nice guy.
Yeah.
And the kind person and the one that leads with, sure, we're gonna get some stuff done and we're gonna hold people accountable if they fall short, whatever. But the thing we're going to do first is we're going to press into the kind of world that we all wish we lived in, right? And that at our best we do live in.
Yeah. Okay, so then with that in mind, what is the biggest challenge you're facing in this season?
Oh, boy. So we have 2 locations now, and it's been probably 2 solid years, or maybe 2.5. That I've been chasing with aggression. How do we, equip and resource and train and hold accountable and celebrate these people so that they are carrying those values in the way that hopefully I am? I hope that I'm a kind enough person that it bleeds over to them and therefore they follow me in that, right? Yeah. And then also, I hope, I'm going to keep using my example of the coffee stain on the table, which again, does not exist. This is just an example. But I hope they're the kind of person who cleans up that stain also. And when they don't, I have to go, hey, can we talk about the stain? You did so good on blah, 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 blah. But this needs attention. Yeah. And we've got to find a way so that we are essentially, I guess you'd say, reproducing ourselves and our vision in others who can then carry it, to the community. That's a tricky thing. That's a challenge. But I've been doing a lot of work on that, working on me and us to be the place that we had last year. We called it the year of systems. We have something. This year's the year of hospitality, by the way. It was the year of systems, like creating systems that carry the weight of those messages to the person that's been here for 4 years and the person that's been here for 4 minutes. And then you create the systems, and then you got to push people into those systems, and that's a whole other problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can identify with the same struggles because just like when you were a solopreneur doing everything yourself, that's the way most design firms start too. It was just me. The idea of getting what was happening in my head out into a system, because I knew how everything should work. I knew the things that we say to clients, the way that we communicate. I mean, it was all in here. So when I hired my first full-time person, which happened to be my son, he was so committed to serving that he stayed with me through the tumult of, did you say that out loud or is that just in your head, Mom? Which happened a lot.
Sure.
So it wasn't until we had an amazingly smart person named my husband, H.B. Pasley, come into our firm and help create standard operating procedures based on the way that I had been doing design and helping us, create something that we could hire and have people come and follow and build a team instead of it just being me or me and my minions, which is not what I want.
Yeah, because, as talented as you are, and you are super talented, nobody can, it's like that football analogy, like you can be Tom Brady, the greatest that ever played the game, 7 Super Bowls. He still ain't going to be the guy to go hit that guy and knock him on his rear end. So the guy, he's not going to be that guy. You got to have a different guy for that.
Yeah.
So, again, all of us solopreneurs and entrepreneurs like to think that we're, we believe in ourselves, which is as we should.
Yeah.
And we got to recognize, and we're not going to do everything well. We got to have other people on the team. I love your concept of team and your journey of opening places for other people that have different skills and abilities and strengths.
Yeah.
And letting them shine. That is one of the one of the greatest joys of being in business is when people step into something that they're really good at.
Yeah.
And they're talented with, and they just flourish. Use that F word earlier. Flourishing.
Yes.
And just letting them do it. Just letting them shine. I love that. Shove them to the front and let them go. That's great.
Do you use any tools to learn about your employees when they're coming on, of how they're wired, so that you can kind of go, oh, you're going to work great over here, or this is going to be a position that you are better at?
One of the things that we use internally that I love is it's based on a book called The Ideal Team Player.
Okay.
And I thought I'm going to say the name of the book and then see if I can remember the name of the guy. Lencioni. It did come to me. That's his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's The Ideal Team Player, and they use a system where they are evaluating each other. Ooh, so one of the ways that, we've seen it done is some supervisor comes in and gives you your evaluation. And we do that. We do a lot of, just one-on-one conversations there. But a couple times a year, we will have everybody evaluate everybody.
Oh, interesting.
I know. It's awesome. Because then, first of all, they evaluate me too.
Oh.
And it's all anonymous.
Okay.
And so everybody can be honest. And then I just get like a score. And I get a score in different categories. And so everybody can say, Don thinks he's the cleanest one, but his cleanliness score is not that high because we all know he's not that clean. Not true, by the way. I'm pretty clean. But I have my weaknesses, right? And
we know because of that coffee stain.
That coffee stain is getting a lot of airtime. But so we do this for each other. And so that one employee who I feel like that they're just, they're not really on top of that to-do list and checking those things off. If their peers all say, or like, hey, look, you did really good on these scores, but that cleanliness score, yours was the lowest one of everybody. And they're like, Shazam, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, I guess I got some work to do. And then we can, help them work on that. Yeah. And it's not just me, in my opinion. Yeah. It's like, this is undeniable. Your team has spoken. Yeah. I love it. The other thing that happens is I have an opinion, and then I give everybody the test, and they don't agree with my opinion. So I'm like, this person's not very clean. And everybody's like, oh, so-and-so is so clean. I'm like, are they? And then I get I'm the wrong one. Yeah. Like, I thought this was true, but 9 other people have agreed. I guess I'm seeing stuff that's not there. Because, we can get biases, right? I saw a guy do a thing one time, and I now put that judgment on everything he does. Right. He missed the coffee stain once, so he's just a guy that doesn't clean up coffee stains. Well, the truth is, his peers say, no, he's always cleaning up that coffee stain. Yeah. You just saw him do it bad one time, and that's because his arm was broken or whatever, Yeah. So that's been really helpful for us. Ideal team player. Mm-hmm. Somebody Lencioni. I just feel like I'm going to think of that first name, and it's not coming to me. Where are you located if somebody wants to come find you? Well, obviously, the way people do it now is they go, boop, direct me to Story Coffee, and it'll say, which location? But when it says which location, it's going to say downtown Colorado Springs. If you're not familiar, we have Acacia Park, which is one of the most historic parks. It's just a tiny little park, but it was gifted to the city by General William Palmer when he founded the city to be kind of the heart of downtown. And I'm saying it this way because it is very romantic. Like, we are literally set up as a business in the heart of downtown Colorado Springs, in a place that's not made for businesses. Yeah. And that's a whole story too. We built that thing on wheels, and we can take it anywhere. But it's been sitting for over a decade now in the same place, in Acacia Park in downtown Colorado Springs. Our second location is on the west side, closer to the mountains, in another historic district called Old Colorado City, and it's at 28th and Colorado Ave. Awesome. Don, thank you so much for coming by, hanging out with me for a little bit on Design to Help Your Business Grow. And we were so excited
Of course, when you say you're done with just 2, we want you to do more, but that's because we just want the chance to work with you again. But
you.
I love that your team is great and you're doing such a good job of providing joyful coffee to the
Thank
city
you.
of Colorado
That's what we're trying
Springs.
to do. Appreciate it.
If you need to create an unforgettable experience, then branded interior design is your secret weapon, because we don't do boring. Designed to help your business grow, Pasley Commercial Interiors.